Our early crossbow seasons continue in Maryland. Death by Bunjie.
Both kind of short on hunting time this year. He's taking a new job soon, and I'm also working full-time, but I am a taxidermist too. So the hunting seasons, I like to get out in the woods, but so do all my clients.
For that reason, the early crossbow season is very important to us. We're putting all of our eggs in that Maryland basket, so to speak. Before we head off to Maryland, I'm sighting in the new SWAT X1, the Killer Instinct Crossbow, the latest addition to the Death by Bunjie family of crossbows. I found some quirks with that, and I'll give you more on that down the road in future videos.
We're heading back to the same general area that we were hunting the first day of our trip, but we're going to switch stands this time. And this time I am on a little stand on the edge of a field. Got a little field behind me, and then a nice big stretch of woods out in front of me. And it's got some weeds in the clearing off to my right, and then the pines off to my left.
It's just perfect change of habitat, perfect location for deer to travel, and maybe come to a corn pile and get a bite to eat.
I'm excited to try this stand because I did hunt there a couple of times in the past, but I've never actually shot anything there. But I do know there's a lot of nice deer in this area.
I've switched to the stand in the woods. Now this is a great tree stand too. It's one of my favorite tree stands in Maryland also. This is the stand where I shot a really nice buck last year, one of my favorite bucks, my favorite hunts of all time. Bunjie and I got it done last year, that's for sure. This year, I get my first sit with the SWAT X1 in that familiar tree stand. This crossbow sits so nice on my lap, and the tree stand is such a joy to use. I have a lot more coming on this crossbow down the road.
The previous night, we actually shot 3 deer in this place, so we're kind of nervous that all the other deer saw us out in the woods dragging these deer out, tracking them.
That's a good way to stink the woods up, right? The deer kind of catch on that something's going on.
So we're hopeful still that there's some other deer in the area that didn't witness all that the night before.
In addition to that, I had worked up a really good sweat in the process of dragging those 3 deer out of the woods. That's a lot to ask of your scent lock. We do have an Ozonics scent crusher machine. I don't think that was enough because as I'm walking into the woods, as soon as I get all set up on the ground, I start climbing the tree stand. Wow, I can smell body odor. That's going to be a problem in close quarters. The morning comes upon us, the sun comes up. It is a beautiful morning in a tree stand. I have 1 deer come in to my right, but I think she smells me once she gets close to the tree stand. And that was it.
There's a lot of other wildlife in this area too, which is really neat to see. Before deer start to move, I see tons of squirrels everywhere. They have big gray squirrels. They got black squirrels, which is cool. We don't really have those back home. And there's also a big flock of turkeys out in the clearing in my right. I can hear them making the little noises that kind of sound like chickens wandering around. The turkeys make their way off back to the right, going somewhere, who knows where. I also start to hear some leaves off to my left, and I catch a little bit of movement, so I get my phone on, and I put my hands back on my lap, and I don't dare move. It's really odd to me. The doe stomps right on in there, so it makes me think she wasn't in the area last night. Then the button buck runs right up to the corn and immediately starts eating. I don't want to get into a situation like I was in last time, worrying about if I was going to ever get a shot because the deer are right in front of each other. So I get ready to take that shot immediately when this doe gets onto the corn pile this time. She stops and the button buck turns away just out of reach of my arrow, and Bunjie Jr. and I, we're gonna let her rip. She doesn't kick, but she does jump, and she runs straight off into the clearing in my right. I have never seen a deer run that fast before.
That was a really nice shot. She put that hacker through that deer with no problem.
The button buck, though, kind of stops and looks around, not really sure what happens, and then he just starts eating again. He's just like, well, more for me now.
Those young deer just don't get it. I hope he grows up to be a really dumb 10-point.
Eventually, he gets too close to my tree stand and looks up at me and realizes that there's something up there. So he does finally make his way off, but he's not too concerned about it. I get down, I look at my arrow, it looks good, there's lots of bubbles, there's good blood near the corn. So Dad and I are just gonna go and look for the deer and take our time because we got plenty of sunlight.
Let's go find her.
Alrighty. Another big one, I think.
I remember this stand. I've been back here before, actually a few hours ago.
Yeah. Hi, Stan.
There's the stand, the corner stand, and your corn's over here. Let's go see your arrow. Boy, talk about a front row seat. Did you turn the tact cam on?
Oh, yeah.
Because, man, that's like, it's 5 yards away. That'll be interesting to see. Genevieve is really upping her game this year with her camera footage. That was one of the things that we kind of talked about.
Right here, and there's
okay.
blood there, and the arrow flew all the way back here. But...
Did you find it?
Yeah,
all right. Ooh, okay. Ooh, that is a good looking arrow.
Yep.
All right. Put that right in your quiver. With a nice broadhead like this, a big cutting diameter, you have a greater flow of blood, hopefully, and sometimes you get a really good blood trail that's not just on the ground. It's almost like a three-dimensional blood trail. It's on the side of the trees as those deer pass. Now, those pine needles, they're the same color as dried blood. They do soak up a lot of the blood, but nonetheless, what a great blood trail.
Please do the size of this one.
I see from here, holy cow.
Horse, man.
That is a big doe.
Look how big she is. Look at her head. Look at this deer. This is a really big doe. This is by far the biggest doe I've ever shot. But I really want to take some kind of a trophy from this deer, and I know she's got a little bit of golden white fur on her hooves, which is really cool. So I will be trying to make a little hoof rack for my crossbow. I don't have one yet. She's got the nice Roman nose on her too. One
of the things I like about morning hunts is you're not rushed around trying to get the deer out of the woods before it gets too late. We had a little bit of time to take some nice trophy pictures.
So far, I accomplished both things that I wanted to get done this year. I shot a really big doe in Maryland, huge doe for Maryland, and I also was able to get it on my phone. I've never actually filmed my hunts on my phone before, but it's easier than I thought. I still got to get the hang of getting the limbs out of the camera view, but it did work well. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
I gotta say, deer hunting is so easy when somebody else does all the work.
We did go back and sit in these same stands that evening, and we didn't see anything, but right after I lowered my crossbow onto the ground, there was another deer behind me. Genevieve could have shot 2 deer, and the SWAT and I get blanked. Is it the curse of Bunjie? What's going on here? There are no guarantees in this business. At this point, I really only know how the cocking arrow shoots from the tree stand. While we were in Maryland, we also got to see my favorite live band, Kicks. We actually got to see their last show ever. It was very important to me because they're going to be retiring after this. Maryland is really shaping up very nice for both Genevieve and me, but it remains to be seen whether we can get the SWAT X1 on a deer. That, Friends of Bunjie, will be the next and final video in the series. So until next time, all hail Bunjie Jr.